I always forget to check. Oh, that is down. Okay. Oh, and switch. Oh, no. And I need to switch off my phone. And now? What's going on? Inevitably, somebody's going to try and call me. That always happens when I'm live. So let's just switch that off so that we don't have that problem. Okay. Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful sunny day, chilly outside, but it's a beautiful sunny day here in Cape Town. I have some fun, you know, every week something new happens in this household where we get something new, whether it's new equipment, merchandise. There's always something new arriving at this doorstep. So yeah, this a whole bunch of stuff arrived. We've got some fancy schmancy things that are going to make my live streaming a little bit easier, and hopefully better lighting. We got a new key light. I've got a fancy schmancy, I've just got to show it to you, a fancy schmancy little contraption that allows me, and I'm going to put it on the side so you can't see it, that allows me to switch between things and do stuff. So I can go, hey guys, check out my social media, and and that pops up. And it'll make it so I don't have to go onto my laptop to do this anymore, which is fantastic. Right. So if you are watching today, which will be fantastic if you are, from today, every week when I'm live, we're going to have a unique coupon number. So if you spot it, I'll every now and then I'll switch it on for a minute or two, give you some time to write it down. But you need to be watching, obviously, to be able to spot the coupon. So if you can spot the coupon, then you can get 100 Rand off your online purchase, your next online purchase from me. So, but so how's it? Chat to me if you're online. Right, so today we are doing cake pops. I know that cake pops can be I actually have another friend who's a baker, and well, she's a patisserie chef, and she makes macaroons, and she makes divine, really, really, really nice macaroons. And she says she would rather make macaroons than make cake pops. Now, macaroons are difficult. I know they're difficult to make, but she would rather make macaroons than make cake pops, because she says cake pops are super finicky and full of nonsense. So I kind of like to think that I've mastered cake pops. I've got somebody coming down the passage. So I'm going to show you how to make cake pops my way. I don't use a cake pop tin. In fact, I use my cake pop tin for to make marshmallow pops. I don't make it for cake pops. So I'm going to show you how I do them, and I'll let you know what my little tips and tricks are, so that we kind of don't get cracking, because what happens, where the biggest problem is that the shell cracks, the chocolate shell cracks, and then everyone gets upset because then it cracks. So cake pops, the best time to make cake pops is in winter and not in summer. In summer it can be hellish because of the hot cold, especially when it's hot outside. But with it being in winter here, it's the cake pop takes a little bit longer. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to end up putting the cake pop in the deep freeze, but I don't put it in until it's I don't leave it in the deep freeze until it's like totally frozen. I only put it in there for about 20 minutes, enough for it to be hard enough so that I can dip it in the chocolate. I've just realized that there we go. Sorry that there's a tripod in the camera. So I only put my cake pop in the deep freeze for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes max. Enough time for me to be able, so that it's hot, firm enough for me to dip it into my chocolate. My chocolate and my cake pop need to be roughly, so difficult to get it right, but basically they both need to sort of be room temperature, because if the cake pop is too cold and your chocolate is too hot, that's why the chocolate lands up cracking, because it cools down too quickly and then it pops. So yeah, and then it cracks, and you will hear that crack. You'll hear it. So if I'm able to, today I won't be doing that because sorry, that's like I'm jumping here. If I'm able to, I try not to dip my cake pop more than once, because otherwise the chocolate casing is really thick. But sometimes it's unavoidable. So like today, we're going to be doing rainbow cake pops inside. So I will be doing dipping it twice, because otherwise you're going to see the rainbow colors coming through, especially if you're using white chocolate. I'm not using white chocolate, I'm using milk chocolate. So because what I'm doing is I've got spare cake and I've got spare chocolate, and I'm just doing whatever it is so that you can see. I've already started melting my chocolate because I want my chocolate to be melted as much, pretty much done by the time my cake pops come out the deep freeze, so that so like I can touch this already. So if I can touch this, my chocolate is at a I mean, for quite a while. It's nice and warm, actually. It's quite toasty. My chocolate is actually not that hot, so I'm probably going to boil this up again, because I need it to be a little bit hot to melt the rest of this chocolate. And also I need my chocolate to be as runny as possible. I don't need it to be thickening up, because then it makes it a little bit difficult. But while this is melting up and doing its thing, we're going to mix up our cake pops. Right, so I'm going to pop that over here because I need access to the chocolate for now. Okay, so what we're going to do is so I've got leftover rainbow cake, and I'm going to, so the awesome thing about cake pops is that you can, any leftover cake, you can make cake pops or cakesicles. Your cakesicles, same thing, will be the same. Basically, cakesicles and cake pops are one of the same thing. The difference is a cake pop is rolled into a ball, and a cakesicle is in the shape of something, you use from a mold. So, and you lie down flat. So, okay. So, cake pops are made from already made. Oh no, I don't need extra buttercream. Okay. I forgot about that. So, because this is left over, so when I made the push pops, this is the leftover cake from the push pops. So it already has buttercream in between. You'll see. So I'm not going to add buttercream because it's already got buttercream in between. But if you had leftover cake that doesn't have buttercream or anything, you just then have to add buttercream. Okay, but because I already have buttercream in between here, I'm not going to add more buttercream. You don't want to add too much buttercream, because what happens is that once your cake starts to defrost inside your chocolate, if there's too much buttercream, the actual oil or butter will start to seep out of your cake pop. It does not look great. It generally comes through out at the join of the cake pop stick and the cake. So yeah. Okay, so I like to do it like this. especially with the rainbow ones. And I actually think, like, even if you did it vanilla or chocolate, this way is the best way to do it. I have seen options where they put it in the cake mixer and stuff, and they like they mush it up to really fine, and then almost like make it into like a dough with the buttercream. I find that my customers tend to like my cake pops because they I don't do that. I don't mush it up into like a truffle doughy kind of thing. I kind of just leave it. I don't squash it too much because I almost like have it keep its fluffiness. So I do try and break it up as much as possible though. I'm only going to make 12 cake cups, but if I make more, I didn't know how much cake to take out. Now I'm like thinking this is more than I need. Okay, but so I would say one whole cake that makes so a 20 centimeter cake batch. Are you for real? Nuisance! You just be noisy. Take it outside. Sorry, my puppy's just come running inside with something really gross. Come on, outside. Take it outside. I don't want it inside. You're noisy. You're noisy. Sorry, guys. Just nuisance. At it again. So I would say a batch of cake that makes 20 centimeter cake will give you 24 cake pops, just depending on the size of your cake pop, really. So I use my ice cream scoop to measure out how big my cake pop's going to be. So if I had just the cake and I needed to add buttercream, I would probably put no more than 3, heaped tablespoons, one of these normal tablespoons, like 3 heaped tablespoons of buttercream into it, and then you just cut it up like this. So you can see I'm not making it too fine, and I just don't want any really large pieces, but I'm not going to mush it up, squish it up. I just want to make sure that there's no big chunks. So this way I find kind of keeps your normal cake fluffiness. And obviously because I'm doing rainbow, I don't want to mix it up too much because it's gonna obviously then if I mix it up too much, then it's not going to be a rainbow anymore, and then it's gonna turn to mush more than anything else, like a brown puff color rather than rainbow. Okay, so this is fine. This is more like a crumb state, and the amount of buttercream that's in here is perfect. I don't need any more than what's in here. Okay, so right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a scoop of. So I've got my tray here with some I can't talk today apparently, with some baking paper, and then I'm just going to take a scoop of okay, I am going to use my magic wand here and switch my logo off so that you can see better. Okay, so my scoop gives me my size, and you must remember you're going to add chocolate to this, so it's gonna it'll get bigger as well. So this is roughly the size of my cake pop, which is roughly the size of a golf ball, a little bit bigger. Definitely not tennis ball size, that's huge. Okay, and then I just roll it into as much of a ball as possible. So you'll know that you've got enough buttercream when it forms a nice little ball like that, and you'll know if you've so I like, you can see these pieces that are like still quite fluffy from the cake. It's not, I'm not totally mushing it up into a, like that, yeah, like I'm squeezing it down. You can see I'm squeezing it down into, so that it can, you know, stick to each other and take form and stuff. But I want to try and keep it fluffy like a cake, as opposed to like a truffle kind of feel to it. So we just do that, and I try and make them as perfectly round as possible now, before we before I put it into the deep freeze. So we're gonna make however many. I don't actually have a lot of. I'm making 12 cake pops because I only have 12 sticks left. So I won't be doing more than 12. I need to get some more cake sticks. So then I just pop them like that. So it's always good to use like an ice cream scoop or something like that, because it helps you to keep your sizing. See, you can see they're pretty much all the same size. They don't. I do the same thing when I'm doing my cupcakes as well. I use the same, you know, I use the scoop, and I know 2 scoops per paper, you know, per paper cup for a, and then I'll know I'll definitely get 24, and my cupcakes will all be the same size. So. Wait a minute. Ooh. If you're watching, say hi. Talk to me, chat to me, ask me some questions. Doesn't have to be about baking, it can be about anything you like. Might not be able to answer you, but depending on what it is. Yeah. So we just roll it nicely into a ball like this, and then we've already obviously we will then take our oh, that one looks a little bit small, so I'm just going to add some more in there. So if you can get these as round as possible now, then yeah, you don't have to fiddle with them too much, and they'll come out quite nice and round and perfect. And yeah, there's going to be, like with this way, there is a bit of like lumps and bumps and stuff like that, but the chocolate will smooth it out. But yeah, so as long as you don't have huge chunks, it must be small, but it's better to have done it with a knife as opposed to, especially with the rainbow. But you don't want it too. For me, I don't want it too crummy. See, like there's a big chunk, but I leave it like that. I don't want it too thin, too small. What else can I tell you about cake pops? So what we're gonna do once I've rolled all these out, 2, 4, 6, 8. We're gonna dip the cake pop stick into the chocolate. That's also why I needed melted chocolate before I started, because you need to dip your stick into chocolate first, and then into your cake pop, and that way your stick will stick to. Let's just make that smooth. Okay, and then your stick will stick into your cake. Okay. think I must see if I can do an extra couple, maybe. I mean, I think I might have an extra few sticks, so I'll do an extra few. I know my daughter will say she'll want she'll want one when she gets home. She loves them, especially if it's rainbow cake inside. You know, it's always better if it's rainbow. Even it's still vanilla. Still vanilla cake inside. Sorry. I swallowed the wrong way down. So yeah, this is a great thing to make with leftover cake. So rather go pop your leftover cake that you've baked. You know, so say like sometimes like I did with the these in particular, where I made push pops, and then there's always leftover cake. So then you go and pop that in the deep, put that cake in a container and pop it in the deep freeze until you're ready to use it, and then defrost it and turn it into cake pops. You can do chocolate, you can do vanilla, you can do. I've never done like a different kind of flavor. Like I'm pretty sure you can make lemon. Oh, maybe I should try and do that. Oh no, because you have to cover it in chocolate. So it needs to be a cake that's nice with chocolate. I was going to say, although I suppose you could make lemon cake pops with chocolate. I don't know if it'll taste very nice. Red velvet you definitely can do. Not too sure about carrot cake though. Not sure if that's a great idea. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Oh, okay. Let's see how many sticks I've got over there. I just want to check. Just finish all my sticks. So I've got 2, 4, 5 left. So that's 12. So I can do another 2. And these are the perfect size. You don't really want to make them bigger than this, but also don't make them smaller, because then, you know, then you're just being schlump. But you don't want them bigger than this, because actually this is probably roughly the equivalent to what? One cupcake. You know, the amount of cake that you'll probably end up using. I know it doesn't look like it, but you are like squashing it and stuff. So yeah, just want to check that they're all the same size, and then I've got a little bit of cake left over, but that's fine. I just don't have enough sticks. I probably could get one more. I'm not sure. Our sound bar's going and going, so I'm not sure if anyone can hear. The poor neighbor's dog is howling. They're normally always home, but they've obviously gone out, and he's not happy. He's not happy that they've gone out, Shane. And he's only a puppy, so. Okay, let's just like scoop all of that up so that's all in here. Okay. I'm just going to go wash my hands quick. So try and get them nice and round and smooth as, you know, as much as you can. Just move them over a bit. So they're pretty round, I think. Could be wrong. I think they look pretty round to me. Okay, just gonna wash my hands. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just take these sticks so you can see what we're doing. And I've already melted chocolate, which we know. And then, so we're gonna take all our sticks and we're gonna dip our stick. Just move this around so that you can see what I'm doing. Let's go around. Oh, let's go this way. Okay, so we're gonna dip a little bit of chocolate like that, just not a lot. And then we're going to twist it into your cake pop like that. So you can see it's pretty easy. I mean, there's nothing. But like this other friend of mine that makes the macaroon, she's like, no, they're too finicky, because the finicky part comes with this getting the chocolate right and making sure our cake pop is not too frozen when you're dipping it. So that's where the trick comes. You know, because you don't want it cracking. Again, this is exactly what you would do if you were doing a cakesicle, except you'd be using ice cream sticks. But same thing, you'd be dipping the ice cream stick into the chocolate, and then no, sweetie. Nuisance is added again. She's literally, my husband calls her a rubbish dog, because she literally steals from the dustbin all the time. She's naughty. Okay, see, so I'm one stick short, but I'm just going to roll this on in chocolate. It's fine, and my husband can have it with his coffee later. Okay, so I'm going to go and pop these into the deep freeze quickly, and I'll be back. So basically 20 minutes in the deep freeze will suffice, should. Okay, so my chocolate's not 100% melted, so I'm just going to go boil my water. So I'm just going to boil the water so that it gets to the consistency that I want it. I love all my all the gimmicks that my husband has created for me to use. It's pretty cool. So much better than me going into the laptop and and then my face is zoomed into you. Put that there. And then I'm not going to do any crazy decorations on here. I'm just going to, I've got some, I was making some monster sugar cookies, and I've got some leftover royal icing. So I'm just gonna do some simple swirls with all my leftover royal icing colors, just to make it fun, because it's rainbow cake inside. And then as we pop them into the chocolate, we'll pop them onto this so that they can stand up. I normally have a big square one, but I've been using that as time has gone on. I've been cutting it up, using it for very large toppers. I'm not sure if anybody's seen my latest crazy large topper of a car. I basically do it as a dummy with the polystyrene, because one, it's too heavy for the cake, and two, it's too big to make it all in gum paste. I could do it with the Rice Krispie treat, but then it actually also makes it quite heavy, and then I'm always worried about toppers being too heavy on customers' cakes that obviously if I haven't made it, then I always worry that it's too heavy, then it's kind of maybe possibly, I don't know how their cake turns out, could possibly sink into their cake. What you doing? So with me, if I was doing it, then I would put extra support so that it would sit on top and there wouldn't be an issue. So I don't know if you've watched me before, but if you haven't, I use a double boiler. This is a very old double boiler. You can't get them anymore. I don't melt chocolate in a microwave. Just a thing with chocolate. Chocolate is kind of fragile, actually. So this where you nuke it in the microwave, you're asking for you're asking for trouble, because you could nuke it a little too long and then it burns. So same with trying to do it on the stove. If you do it in a double boiler and you put boiling water, chocolate thing on top, your pot on top, you can do a makeshift double boiler actually. Just use a normal pot, and if you get a glass dish or another pot that fits snugly in that pot, it will do exactly the same thing. So so you can do the same thing. Double boilers these days aren't as big as this one, so if I could find one that's as big as this one, I'd definitely buy a new one. But I've had this one since I was about 16, because I've been messing around with chocolate since I was 16. So yeah, this way it might be slower in melting the chocolate, but at least your chocolate is not going to burn, and that's extremely important, that you don't want burnt chocolate. You can't work with burnt chocolate at all. Then you might as well just throw it away. So I've got like a big lump in here, and I want that lump to be gone for me to be able to dip. Just want to put those on the side. And you want your chocolate to be runny. You see mine's quite runny. If it's not running like this, then it's not really going. So generally if it's not running like this, it's either cooled down too much, or it's burnt, or there's something wrong with your chocolate. And I'm going to say that there's something wrong with your chocolate, because I've experienced that in Cape Town. I can't seem to find good chocolate in Cape Town. So if there's a baker watching and knows of any good quality, can recommend good quality chocolate in Cape Town and where I can get it from, please let me know. I am struggling. I thought I had found really good quality chocolate. It tastes great and everything, but to work with, originally it would be fine, and then after, like if you buy like a 5 kg bag. Now I know for a fact, after working with chocolate, I used to buy 25 kgs at a time to make chocolates and Easter eggs and stuff like that when I was like 16 in high school, as extra money. And I know for a fact that chocolate does not go off, and it can sit for months on end, and you can remelt it. I'm talking about baking, molding chocolate. You can melt it over and over again. It doesn't matter. And it should still stay running like this when you melt it. I've recently experienced chocolate that I thought I had good quality chocolate, and now after having it I'm at the end of it, and it's now, when it melts, it's super thick and it's not staying runny at all. So I don't know what's the deal with this chocolate, but I won't be buying it again or using it again. I've got like a kg or so of it left. So, but I need to find some new chocolate that's going to do the job. So, but yeah, so it needs to be running like this, because you need to be able to get that excess chocolate off. You don't want it, because it's going to do exactly this. It's going to coat and you're going to need to shake that excess off, and let it run off. So this is almost done. How long? Oh. I didn't look at the time. Okay, I think it's only been 5 minutes. So yeah, I'm probably going to take it. So I've got about, I'm going to probably leave it in for 25 minutes. So you need to chat to me, because we're waiting for what's going on in the deep freeze to do its thing. So also, if you keep mixing, your chocolates, it will melt quicker as well. If you just leave it to sit, then what happens, especially on cold days like today, it actually gets, the top layer goes cold, and then it doesn't really melt. So the top of it. So if you just keep mixing it, it will actually melt a little quicker as well. So this is still very hot to touch, so my chocolate will be a little too hot for my bat. So now the timing. So now I've managed to melt this pretty much all down. I think there's 1 or 2 lumps left in here. So by the time, so this is where I'm talking about the trick between your chocolates. This is also, so you don't want to put your cake pops in the deep freeze and then start melting your chocolate. Rather, melt your chocolate, put your cake pops in the deep freeze, put some hot water in so that it melts so that, because it would have cooled down in the time that you made your cake pops, depending on how many cake pops you've made, and then just put some hot water in again and let it get runny again. And then, so by the time that this is cooled down to the temperature that you need it to be, it won't be hectically hot. It will be hopefully the right temperature and your cake pop won't be frozen. It'll just be cold, and then it's near as damn it to almost the similar temperature. And it won't ever be the similar temperature, because obviously this is hot or room temperature and that's cold, but they will be close in temperature, as opposed to being super hot and super frozen cold where it's going to crack. when was it, about 3 years ago, somebody asked me to make 100 cake pops around about this time of the year. And I thought, oh, okay, I'm doing well. And as because my chocolate was too hot, and as I was dipping the chocolates, the ones that by the time I got to like 50, the number one cake pop, I could hear them all starting to pop, and they were all starting to crack because my chocolate was too. And at that time, I was freezing my cake pops until they were frozen. So like literally, so I had made 100 cake pops and I had shoved them all in the deep freeze, and I'd left them in the deep freeze for like an hour or two, so they were completely frozen. And my deep freeze freezes like really hard, and then my chocolate was too hot, and I was just dipping and I was going because I was trying to do 100, and as I got to like 50, number one was starting to, and it was just going pop, 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 and they were all just cracking. So I had to, once I had dipped all 100, I had to dip them all again. I had to do a double dipping so that they wouldn't crack. So then I just let them settle, and make sure that they're not. When I say I let them settle, I didn't dip them straight away. I left them to get to room temperature. Then got my chocolates, new batch of chocolate melted, and then re-dipped them all so that they were all double dipped. But it is nice if it's not double dipped, because then the chocolate's not so thick. But sometimes it can't be helped. But also some people like it, if it's double dipped as well, because obviously they get extra chocolate. So like I do marshmallow pops, so I make my own marshmallow, and I use the cake pop mold, and I make I pipe the marshmallow in the cake pop mold, so that I've got this beautiful round marshmallow. And then I do the same thing. I dunk the stick into the chocolate, into the marshmallow, and then I dunk it in the chocolate. But then I only need to dunk it once, because the marshmallow is white and perfectly round. I just do a one-time dipping, and because the marshmallow is not cold, so it won't crack or anything like that. So, and that's how I also do my chocolates, my marshmallow Easter eggs. Okay, so there's no lumps in here, it's completely melted. Okay, so it's still quite runny, as you can see. Anybody spotted the coupon? And I've got to work around load shedding as well. That's for today. I've got to work around load shedding. That's going to be fun. With the royal icing, I'm just going to do probably a little bit of I don't want to over decorate it. So probably go around and do like a rainbow swirl kind of thing, or do each cake pop in a different color. Just nothing too crazy. And then if you wanted to decorate your cake pop, so there's many ways that you can decorate your cake pop. You can use buttercream. So if you use crusting buttercream, so basically your buttercream, but you add a lot more icing sugar to it, so that when it dries hard. So like I've made unicorn in the picture that's on the thumbnail for today's session. I use buttercream to make those little unicorn, to make it look like a unicorn on a cake pop for my daughter's birthday, like 4 years ago. So you can use buttercream to decorate, or you can use, I've made like little, what's it, the Big Five like an elephant and all of that. So once it's dry and everything, you can actually work with it quite nicely with gum paste or fondant or whatever to decorate it as something, like on an elephant, to put the trunk and the ears and all that kind of stuff. The one thing that I do battle with, and at some point I need to really have a look into it and how to do it. When I've made chocolate previously, it was always milk chocolates. I never really used white chocolate. Many people wanted white chocolate or colored chocolate. So yeah, I battle to color chocolate, white chocolate. There's so many different theories on how to do it, and I've tried all of them. I've never been successful in coloring it. Like when people say they want like a red chocolate coating, because cake pops are always dipped in chocolate. They're not really going to dip it in anything else. You're not going to cover it in buttercream or anything like that. There's no way. Actually, I must actually have a look into it. One of the other things that I'll see if see if I can do it. I know that like if you had to do petit fours, that's an icing that's gone, like a glaze that's gone hard. You could possibly do the same thing actually. You could make a glaze and dip your chocolate instead of using chocolate. I mean, dip it into the glaze and where it goes hard. But I don't think that you would be able to really decorate it or anything like that, because it would crack, because it's I think the glaze is made, I think it's like a buttercream glaze. So basically you make buttercream and then you pop it in the microwave, and when you take it out it's runny, and then you use it, and then that buttercream will dry hard, which I've never really done and I've never really tried. I should try making petit fours and doing that, but yeah, I don't think you'd be able to decorate it and push hard onto it with like gum paste or anything like that. But chocolate's a lot more stable. So okay. Oh, I'm gonna go check those. I'm gonna go check my cake pops. I'm sure they'll be fine to actually, because they've been in the fridge for about almost 20 minutes. So for me, that's pretty okay. I just want to, because my chocolate is still quite hot. So I'm just going to take my chocolate off, because my chocolate is actually a little too hot. So I'm just wondering if I should put them back in the deep freeze. So to cool my chocolate down a bit. So I can't, yeah, so this is super hot. I can't touch it. So now my chocolate is now too hot for this. So what's going to happen is if I dip this now, it's going to crack. It's definitely going to crack, without a doubt. This is too hot for me to even touch. So I'm going to put this back in the deep freeze. I'd rather put these in the deep freeze and sit out, because then they're going to start to thaw out, and then I won't be able to. Then what will happen is if they thaw out, see, this is not falling off, and I can shake it. If they start to thaw out, I won't be able to do that. It will fall off the cake stick. Okay, so I don't want that. That's the reason why we freeze them. So my chocolate's a bit, so definitely too hot. So I'm gonna just keep mixing this so that I can get it to cool down. And I've taken it off the hot water so that it can cool down, because obviously it's not going to cool down otherwise. And it's such a fine line. So this is why it's tricky. So there's such a fine line, because you need your pop not to be super cold. You need your chocolate not to be super hot. But at the same time, if your cake pop is not cold enough, it's going to fall off your stick when you dunk it. Besides the cracking, okay, it's going to fall off your stick because it's now not holding. And then also, if your chocolate's too cold, then you won't be able to dunk it, because as it gets colder, obviously it's going to start to thicken up, and then you can't get it out. So you have to, once you've got it pretty much, like I'm literally going to, as soon as this is, so probably 5 minutes or so, as soon as this is enough for me to hold, and I know that it's not too hot, then it's a case of moving it and like really, flying through it, so that you can get them dunked and everything quickly, so that your chocolate is not going hard, or else you have to warm your chocolate up again, and then you've got to start all over again, which is very, like if you're making like a big batch. So I would say, like say you're doing like 100 cake pops, argument's sake, I would say you do batches of 12 at a time. So you put, if you land up putting all 100 in the deep freeze, that's fine, and then they'll land up being pretty frozen. But then I would take, I would have them on a rotation kind of thing, so that while you're working with 12 and dipping them, you have another one out thawing, so that it doesn't, because then obviously you don't want it too frozen. But I would work in batches of 12 so that you don't have this problem. Because it's easier to work with 12 than, because if you pulled all 100 out, by the time you get to the 100th one, it's now no longer cold and it's pulled out, and it's not going to work. And then you probably have to, melt more chocolate for 100 and all that kind of thing. So also, I mean, I'm mixing this a lot, I know. And so you've got to be careful the way you mix it and stuff as well, because you can put air bubbles in here, and then your pop can land up with air bubbles. So I just kind of, and also when you working with chocolate, use a I've got a silicone wooden spoon. That sounds stupid. It's a silicone spoon, but it's basically like a wooden spoon, but it's a silicone one. It's much better than I used to use a metal spoon, but it gives it a metallic taste. The metal to metal with the chocolate. So it's actually better if you just use a silicone spoon. So I just want to see if this is too hot to touch, which it still is a little. But I'm going to double dip anyway. So because I'm going to double dip anyway, I'm actually just going to get on with it. So I'm gonna be double dipping the because of the rainbow. So if I did this with the rainbow, if I did it with white chocolate and I only dipped it once, that rainbow color is going to come through. So I'm going to double dip it anyway, even though I know it's milk chocolate and not okay. So I'm just going to switch myself off, all because yeah, so that you can see what's popping here. So there's got more of camera going on here than me. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so I just want to, so it's quite hard now, you'll see, it's quite hard. And I just want to make sure that it's round. These ones, yeah, well, yeah. I'm gonna show you. I'm not gonna. Although can I? No, I'm gonna put these into 2 bags anyway. So, okay. So, I just while it's a bit cold, I kind of just make sure that it's all smooth and round, and then we're just gonna dip it in. So you'll always have a lot more chocolate in your bowl than you probably need, because you want to be able to dip right in. When there's not a lot of chocolate, it makes it difficult to dip. So do you see, because it's cold and it's sort of frozen, I can shake this around and get as much chocolate off here as possible. Because if you don't, when you put it on here, it's going to run down the stick. But you would not be able to do what I'm doing right now if it hadn't been in the deep freeze. Okay, so, oh, no, I didn't one of those. Okay, a loop. Okay, so I just take a skewer so I can make a hole. Otherwise, it makes it difficult for me to put it in my thing. So I just, and this is quite cold, it's probably going to crack, but like I say, I'm going to double dip anyway, so I'm just going to it's actually better to put it upside down and shake it like this, like I am, so that it runs all to the point on the top of your cake pop, so that we don't get what I did over here. Okay, so then it will do that rather, and it will sit nicely. So you do apparently, well, I have seen them. You get cake pop stands. Yeah, I'm not. You never double dip chips. What chips? What kind of chips? Why wouldn't you double dip chips if it's cheese? Of course you would. Okay, so you kind of do have to work, you know, as quickly as you can, because like now, because this is not on the heat, the chocolate is starting to thicken up already. And you make sure when you dip it that you get all the way around here, so that it actually closes it up and seals your cake in. So cake pops, you can make cake pops can be made up to a week ahead of time. You can, if you want them for longer, you can actually make them and dip them. So if you like as they are now, they can stay in, like I'll put them in a individually wrapped packet, cellophane bag, and they will still be pretty nice up to a week. If you wanted them to last a little longer than that, you can make them and then you know, have them dunked like this in the chocolate already, and then you can pop them into the deep freeze as is, with the chocolate. And then you can, whenever you're ready to use them, you can take them out of the deep freeze. So that kind of is something that can save you time if you having to do, like, God forbid, like 200-300 of them. You know, it's pretty cool that you'll be able to do, you know, at least do the basis of it, not the decorating, you know, ahead of time, and you can do a few a day as opposed to trying to do 300 cake pops in one day kind of thing, if you are a big baker. I've only had to make 100 cake pops once. I haven't had to do that again. Actually, I don't think I need to double dip these. They look okay, but also if you double dip them, you kind of I'll show you what it looks like once you've double dipped it. It kind of smooths it out even more, though. So yeah, I mean, if you want a really, really, really smooth round cake pop, then you would do it more like a truffle, where you have mixed, you put your cake into your mixer and get it to that very fine breadcrumb stage. Put your buttercream in, mix that in until it becomes like a dough. Almost like a cookie dough consistency, and then roll your balls. You can do it like that, and then you'll get them super smooth and they won't be lumpy or anything like this. But I don't know, I suppose that's always you know, personal preference. I find that people really like the cake pop like this because it's more like a cake as opposed to being like this truffle kind of thing. So let me find another spot. See, I told you it was inevitable that someone was going to try and phone me while I'm live streaming. It's so funny. Good thing I turned the volume down. Probably people think I'm being rude and not answering them, but they don't realize that I'm online. Okay, I'm gonna move over to this one so that I can. I do actually have holes in here already from previous cake pops, but so now my I'm trying to see if any of them are bound to crack, but it doesn't seem like it. I think we're pretty much there. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Although, what was it though? A couple of weeks ago when I was on live streaming, the same phone number kept phoning me and it landed up being a customer. So, because I eventually just answered it. So now my chocolate has cooled down quite a bit. So it's going to start to thicken up, and obviously then that's it's going to be a bit of a problem, but I'm almost done, so I'm not too stressed. So you don't have to do it like this where it's on a stand. You can do that whole thing where it's where you put it down, and you know, like the way these are now, like that. You can just put it back down like that if you want. but I'm wanting it like this, so I'm gonna leave it like this. Also, like if I've done mermaid tails out of cake pops, so then I just did this, and then I turned them upside down, and then I added to the stick. I added gum paste and turned them into mermaid tails and decorated them. And I think I've got oh, here we go again. Same person is phoning again. Don't know who it is. I don't think it's a call center when they're phoning again. Okay, so we've got the last one. So I'm actually not going to really double dip it. I'm going to leave it. I don't see, I thought that the rainbow would, if it was white, definitely would be double dipping it, because the rainbow color would be coming through, and then it looks a bit off, and obviously you don't want that. So I'm just going to pop this one in here, roll it around. This can be my husband's tea time treat. Pop it over there. He will definitely enjoy that. What I am going to do is I'm just going to show you what it looks like if you do double dip it. Let's see. I'll take one that's smallish. So obviously, the more you dip it, the bigger it's going to get, because it's going to form an extra, layer of crust in that. So an extra layer of chocolate. So you just dunk it again. Oopsie. But you see now, maybe I will double dip it. Because look how much nicer it looks now. So you see, you can see some of them are looking a bit lumpy because of I've got my yeah, so I think it's just your preference, you know what I mean? If you want it, how smooth you want them, and because my rainbow is a bit lumpy, because I'm not making it like a, that super smooth, doughy kind of way. So you can see, like, now it'll smooth out and be a little bit more rounder. But these are free cake pops, so I'm not going to be stressing about over them. If it was a proper order, now I know this sounds funny. These are free, so there's nothing wrong with them as far as I'm concerned, and I'm going to decorate them, which is going to make it look... Do you see how much smoother it comes out as opposed to like that one? So just the second dipping, it's totally preference. You can see this one's a little bit lumpier than that one, and this one's a little bit smoother. So yeah. If you rolled your ball, that's why I always say roll your ball until it's almost as perfect as possible before you put them in the deep freeze. And then yeah, and then you can, then there's less messing around. This is still hot because now my chocolate's getting a bit thick. So it will become a little harder to work with. Oh, now you see, oh. Didn't shake off enough. So what will happen is if you put too much buttercream, I almost want to say rather go less buttercream than too much buttercream in your mix, because what will happen is that once it starts to warm up, really, especially in summer, in the hot days, I kid you not when I say the buttercream oil will find a way from inside there to come seep down in out here, and it'll find its way. It'll find a crack one way or another, and it'll start seeping. And that's because there's too much buttercream in the cake mix. Because you actually don't need a lot. It's the buttercream is there, so your cake already has moisture in it, right? Because if your cake is moist, it's gonna already have moisture in it. And then you're gonna go and add buttercream to it. And really, the buttercream is just to bind it. It's not for anything else. Maybe add a little bit of flavor in it, but that's pretty much it. It's not really there for anything else. So yeah, you just got to be careful with that buttercream. Am I worrying about it? I don't know. I don't see any of them cracking, so, which is awesome, which means that my cake, oh, and there it goes again, same number. Not answering them. I don't know why they're phoning me 50 million times. I don't know any reason why there's a yeah. Someone who doesn't know that I'm busy live streaming. I don't know what's so urgent, because there isn't anything urgent. And actually, if it's that urgent, they'll be phoning my husband if they can't get a hold of me. So the joys. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to leave that at that, because yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't know which one I've done now. Oh, wait, that one. See, you can see that they get bigger the more you dip them. But especially like once you've dipped them once, you can see how robust they are. You can shake and really shake off as much chocolate as you can get off. Because you don't want it running down the stick. And because your cake is cold, it basically cools your cake pop down quite quickly. Oh. Because especially when you've already dipped it once, it's now sealed in the freshness. It's sealed onto the stick. There shouldn't be any issues. Shouldn't fall off the stick or anything like that. You should be able to just have them like this. Okay. How many have I got? 2, 4, 6. I might as well dip another 6. So that they're all the same. But you see now my water is getting my chocolate's getting very cold. So on the second dipping, if you heat up your chocolate, it won't, because like this is already melted, so you're not going to have to heat it up too much, just enough to make it runny, because now you can see my chocolate's getting thick, and yeah, it's eventually not going to be able to, I'm not going to be able to work with it. But you won't have to heat it up too much because it's already melted. It's not the case of melting it, just heating it up so that it's a little bit runnier. And then you won't have to worry about cracking because it's It's really it's at room temperature and everything now, because it's, your cake is probably thawed out on the inside. You would have cracking if your cake was frozen and you were trying to double dip it before it's thawed out. I might get 6 in before. Before the water's boiled. One, two, three, and another 3. Yeah. Okay. Don't know which ones I did. Wait, I said 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. I think it was those 3 and then these 3. Okay. Getting myself confused. Okay. So I'm going to. Right, so what we're going to do is just finish these up. So we're going to, I think I need my tray, because I don't really want to mess, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to mess. So I'm just going to take some colors. Where's my, just unblocking that. So I'm just going to actually swirl it. I really don't know what I should do. So we can do it like that, or I might put an extra color on it. Yeah, this is just normal cookie ice, cookie thickness, not too runny. How many colors do I have? Let's do, I don't know, like 5 colors. I feel like I need, what color am I missing? Actually, I'm going to just do blue and red. I think that's what I'm going to do. Oh, something fell off. Oopsie. Maybe I'll redo that one. and try and spin it, then it will go easier. Yeah, and I just use royal icing because obviously you can do it with buttercream, but I've got royal icing available. And again, your royal icing kind of hardens better as well. You would have to do crusting buttercream if you're going to use buttercream for that. This one. And you don't, like you can see, you don't need to do these with white chocolate there. I know that they tend to always do white. I think it's because white just, gives you a better blank palette to work with, as opposed to working with milk chocolate. But I prefer milk chocolate, so I prefer milk chocolate over the white chocolate. So I think that's one that needs I wanted to fix that one because that one, well, I'm not going to fix it, I'm just going to do an extra one. Just going to dunk this one in. Where am I at? Let's put my face back so that you can see me. And then let's just use the red. And then we'll just do a second layer of red in between. I have a friend who is in Joburg who wants me to do her wedding cake next year, and she wants cake pops, I think, as wedding gifts on the table. So not sure what we're going to do, but that should be interesting to make. So this is what I call simply decorated cake pops. Plain or simple, where you're not doing anything complicated with them. 2, 4, 6, 2, 4. I have another one. This one. Is it this one? Yeah. Okay. I'll do these last 6. No, my child, I'm gonna leave a couple that are not decorated because she'll want to decorate them herself, the extras. So I'll put the extras for her to decorate and do her own thing. Simple, simple, simple. Really nothing to it with these. Like I say, the biggest problem is getting your chocolate and your cake at the right temperature so that it doesn't crack. And the last one, yeah. Cake pops are always fun at a party. They're a nice treat to send, instead of the usual. So when I do my daughter's parties, I like to rather do cake pops or cakesicles that go in there in her party boxes, as opposed to doing sweets and chocolates. It's just nice and something different for the kids, as opposed to the usual cheap sweets. And I'd rather spend, well, I mean, obviously I don't spend, well, I do spend because I make it, but I'd rather have the extra spend on something quality in her party packs than cheap sweets, and then none of the kids eat it. So you can do that, but then I think it becomes a bit much. That's a bit much. Although my daughter won't say that, she'll say it's perfect. She'll probably say it's perfect because she loves royal icing. She loves the royal icing. Alright guys, this is me. Where are we going to put these? Somewhere there in the center. And what am I doing? Let's put the logo back on this awesome little contraption that allows me to just like press buttons. It's actually been awesome. I can press to say, don't forget to follow me on my Facebook, my Instagram. Go check out my website. Make sure you like and subscribe, share. Make me popular. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. This is the rules of YouTube. So I don't think there's going to be a problem too much on watch hours. That's pretty easy to do, but getting the 1,000 subscribers is something else. So like, share, help me out here. And then, yeah, and then that's it. That's me for today. I've got a bit of baking to do, so, and I'm gonna see if I can get my husband to fetch my daughter so that I can do some baking before we start load shedding at 2 o'clock. The joys of living in South Africa. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Hope one or two of you have managed to catch that coupon that you can spend if you spend on, if you buy something, minimum spend of 150 Rand, you can then use that 100 Rand discount coupon. On Friday, I'm back on Friday, and I will be putting together I'm just decorating. I'm going to be putting together a superhero birthday cake. So yeah, which is it's a really nice fun superhero birthday cake. So I'm going to be putting that one together on Friday. If you want to catch me on Friday at 9:30. Anyway, guys, have a super duper day, and I will check you out on Friday.